Emperor Zixathala of the Vortanian Empire lay motionless on his crystalline throne, his 6 eyes closed, breathing regulated to mimic the deep slumber of his species. Through his enhanced auditory sensors, he tracked every footstep echoing through the vast throne chamber. The test had begun. For 3 cycles he had observed the new human servant, barely more than a youngling by their standards, working alongside her mother in the imperial quarters. Where other species cowered in his presence, this small human showed an unsettling lack of proper fear. Today, he would discover if her boldness masked treachery or something else entirely. The massive doors whispered open. Light footsteps approached. Not the heavy, cautious gait of his usual Vortanian attendants, but the quick, purposeful stride he had come to associate with humans. The footsteps stopped at the prescribed distance. Perfect. She knew protocol. "Your Imperial Majesty," came the soft voice of the human child. Zixathala remained perfectly still. According to his intelligence reports, humans often revealed their true nature when they believed themselves unobserved. He waited. Minutes passed. The human didn't move. Curious. Most species would either flee or attempt to wake him by now. His thermal sensors detected her steady heartbeat, elevated but controlled, not the erratic rhythm of fear or guilt. Then came an unexpected sound, the soft whisper of fabric being unfurled. Through his closed eyelids, Zixathala detected a shift in the chamber's lighting. His enhanced senses registered the deployment of something large and light. A blanket? The audacity struck him like a plasma bolt. This human child intended to cover the Emperor of 1,000 worlds like some sleeping pet? But she didn't approach. Instead, her footsteps moved away, circling the chamber. He heard the subtle sounds of cleaning, dust being swept, surfaces being polished. She was working around his apparent slumber, maintaining the chamber while ensuring his comfort. More intriguing still, she began to hum. The melody was unlike anything in the Vortanian musical archives, simple, repetitive, yet somehow soothing. His stress indicators, which had been elevated since the morning's war council, began to normalize. The tune seemed to create a pocket of tranquility in the perpetually tense atmosphere of the throne room. An hour passed, then 2. The human worked with mechanical precision, never once disturbing his feigned sleep. Occasionally, he heard her adjust the blanket, not on him, but nearby, creating what his thermal sensors suggested was a windscreen, to prevent drafts from reaching the throne. When she finished her duties, Zixathala expected her to leave. Instead, her footsteps approached again. She stopped at the edge of the platform where his throne rested. "I know you're not really sleeping," she said quietly. Zixathala's primary heart skipped a beat. His eyes snapped open, all 6 focusing on the small human standing before him. She couldn't have been more than 12 rotations old, yet she met his gaze without flinching. "How?" he demanded, his voice a low growl that had sent generals fleeing. She tilted her head, a gesture he'd learned indicated curiosity in humans. "Your breathing was too regular. Mom taught me that real sleep has variations. Plus, your hands kept clenching when I moved around the room. You were tracking me. And yet you continued with your charade. Why?" "Because you needed the rest," she said simply. "Mom says you've been in meetings for 3 days straight. She's worried you'll collapse." The Emperor studied this peculiar creature. "You realize I could have you executed for presumption?" "Yes, sir." "You realize I was testing your loyalty?" "Yes, sir." "And you're not afraid?" For the first time, uncertainty flickered across her features. "I am afraid," she admitted, "but Mom always says being afraid doesn't excuse you from doing what's right." Zixathala leaned forward, intrigued despite himself. "And what, in your limited human perspective, was right in this situation? You work harder than anyone in the Empire. You carry the weight of 1,000 worlds. Everyone who comes here wants something from you: territory, resources, judgment, war." Her voice grew stronger. I just thought, maybe for once, someone could give you something instead, even if it was just quiet. The Emperor sat back, thoroughly unsettled. In his 3 centuries of rule, no being had ever considered his personal comfort. Fear, respect, obedience, these he commanded effortlessly. But simple kindness? Your mother, he said finally. She sent you to spy on me? No, sir. She doesn't know I'm here. I finished my assigned duties early and asked permission to clean the throne room. She thinks I'm practicing my statecraft. And are you? A small smile crossed the human's face. I suppose so, though not the kind they teach in books. Zixthala found himself returning the expression, a shocking breach of imperial dignity. What is your name, small human? Arya, your majesty. Arya Chen. Well, Arya Chen, you have presented me with a most unusual test result. He gestured to the blanket she had positioned as a windscreen. Tell me, what do you know of the Centauri Rebellion? Only that it's giving you headaches, sir. Indeed. The Emperor stood, his massive form casting shadows across the chamber. Perhaps it's time for a new perspective on that matter. Report to my strategy council tomorrow at dawn. Arya's eyes widened. Sir? You said everyone who comes here wants something from me. But you're wrong about one thing. He moved past her toward his private chambers, pausing at the doorway. You didn't just give me quiet, child. You gave me something far more valuable, a reminder of what I'm actually fighting to protect. As the doors closed behind him, Emperor Zixthala smiled. The human had indeed surprised him, though not in the way he'd expected. She hadn't revealed treachery or ambition. Instead, she had revealed something the Emperor had forgotten existed in his vast empire: simple, unconditional compassion. Tomorrow, the Centauri rebels would face not just the military might of the Vortanian Empire, but something far more dangerous, a strategy informed by the very humanity they sought to destroy.